In this video, I'm going to talk about contrast and exposure in your photographs. So I'm going to be concentrating a little bit more on black and white photographs, but a full range of tones applies to color photographs as well. The first thing I'm going to talk about is converting your images from color to black and white. So as we can see here, 4 and 7 are very different colors. The orange and the green, but they have the same amount of lightness and darkness. So when they're converted into black and white, they actually end up looking pretty much the same. So when you are shooting for black and white, what you want to do is really look at the lightness and darkness of the colors around you, so that you don't get a picture that's just kind of overall gray. As much as I love Cape Cod and going out to Truro and Wellfleet and Provincetown, it is true sometimes when you take black and white photos out there, they can have just a lot of middle gray tones because the sand, the yellow sand, the green grass, and the sky, the blue sky, can sometimes all be the same kind of tone. And so they all end up being the same gray. So again, when you're shooting a picture looking for to convert it eventually to black and white, you do want to look at the lightness and darkness of the colors around you. So there's this thing called the zone system in photography, and we go from 1 to 10. We have our black, black, and our white, white. Let's get my pointer. My black, black, my white, white, and all of the tones in between. Generally, with photographs, you do want to have this full range of tones. Later, you'll learn about histograms. It's a little what's called bar graph. Sometimes you'll see it when you take a picture on your camera. You can see them when you do levels in Photoshop, but it actually shows you all those tones and how many pixels you have that are at black or medium gray or at white. So anyway, you want to have these light grays to show details in your highlights. You want to have these dark grays to show details in your shadows. So you don't have areas of your photo that are just pure white or pure black. So these images have a full range of tones. See how even here in the background, using those mid to dark grays, we see that we have some detail. Even right here, we can see that like metal, corrugated metal in the background. And in this picture, we get detail in the nubbly parts of this little toy, but we also get details in the white part of her shirt. Here we get a full range of tones. It makes it look very three-dimensional. So we have our black, black, we have our white, white, we have all of our tones in between. Now, in photography, sometimes we break rules. We learn the rules, we break them. So there are going to be times, such as in this image, when we get more of just a pure black and a pure white, and it drops out all the tones in between. So in terms of your exposure and your exposure is how light or dark your image is, and your contrast means, do you have that full range of tones, or are you dropping out some of those tones in the middle? Do you not have enough grays? So let's first talk about exposure. Too dark of an image loses details in the shadows. So here you can see in these two, actually in all three of them, yes, we have more detail on her shirt, but we're losing detail on the toy. And the same thing goes for something's too light. Sure, we can see way more of the toy here, but now we've lost all that detail in her shirt. So the proper exposure is to have that full range of tone, so we get details in the highlights and details in the shadows. Okay, so this has to do with contrast. So When you only have those middle grays, so, on that value scale, you have 3, 4, 5, 6 even, and you don't have your white and you don't have a black, then you're going to get images that look like this, that are just very grayed out. On the other hand, if you only have those ones and twos and those nines and tens, then you don't have any of those gray tones, and you've lost detail in your highlights and your shadows, and you've lost those middle details. So that's why you want this one in the middle. That's why you want that full range of tones going from black to white with all the tones in between. If you have any questions, please let me know.